Episodio 9. You and I see different. Thank you. Welcome back. I hope you guys have been enjoying the last and the previous episodes. Este episodio va a ser en Spanglish, so English and Spanish at the same time. We hope you definitely enjoy. Espero que de verdad disfruten lo que vamos a hablar aquí. Estoy acompañado nada más y nada menos que de mi madre, my mother, Eileen. Hello.
Hello, everybody. I'm Eileen, Julian's mother.
Okay, Mom, what are we talking about today? I have a very interesting topic for you, but I just want to know first, how are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank
Fantastic. This is a good thing you have going on here.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Oh man. Well, she's been coughing for the whole time. She does not have the corona, just if she starts coughing mid podcast, it's okay. Jesus. It's her first time on a mic. Anyways, we have a very interesting topic. It's going to be talking about healthcare. Y realmente queremos hablar de seguro médico. And we just want to know the pros and cons. Like, what kind of aspects do you guys think that we should talk about? I'm sorry. Not what I meant to say. I meant to say that we just have our own opinion, okay? And I want you guys to see what we can do. But anyways, we're talking about the cost of health insurance. Please tell me, and I want to know, okay? We're not going to express the year you were born in. We're not going to say your age out here, okay? This is completely confidential, guys. I do want to ask, how was it back then on health insurance? Like, you used to pay health insurance for me when I was a kid. I mean, when I was a baby, what was the price like towards that?
Well, actually, if I'm going to be honest here, when you were a baby, I had some assistance from our government on healthcare because they did offer such benefit for single mothers that at that time, right, that needed some assistance. So, it ranged. Before I was able to get my foot in the door into a really good, financial stability and a good job, I probably paid anywhere between $40 and $100 a month for healthcare. I was limited to where I can take you for to be seen and examined, right? Because that's those are the pros, right? And there's the cons of government
benefits, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we do have that nowadays. It's called Obamacare. Thanks to Obama. Shout out to him. 2008, he became president. So that's awesome. And I just don't understand how you can go from $40 to $100 in a range, and then go from average currently in 2020 is $456 a person in one household. And household could actually spend up to $5,000 in one month on healthcare.
I'm gonna beg to differ there a little bit.
Okay, maybe it was a year.
I'm gonna beg to differ there as well. I mean, it all depends. It all depends. It all depends on exactly what benefits you have, and is it through private sector? Is it through, is your employer has a good, plan, and are
like
they
HMOs and PPOs is what we're talking
whatever
about?
Right, like what is your deductible, like not your deductible, but what is the employee paying? So just to kind of get back to what you were talking about, like I said, there's pros and there's cons of government
assistance.
Yeah, and healthcare. I mean, seriously. So
what is it like? You couldn't visit more than once, or it was one time a month, or
Look, it's free, with a small copay, or a monthly fee. Some people, it was free. It was just free for because of whatever their income was. Maybe they qualified and it was free. However, like I said, you were subjected to these government clinics, so you're going to be faced with longer wait times. Like I said, limited facilities. Maybe the facilities are not in the town where you're living or the area where you're living, so you have to go into different sectors of the city.
Got you.
So maybe the quality of, no offense to any doctor that works for the government, or government paid
Yeah.
institutions, not trying to disrespect them at all, but it's the truth. Maybe they just, they had seen already like 50, 60 patients and they were tired, so you're not getting the same quality
Of
of
service.
service and treatment, medical treatment.
Right.
Maybe you're not getting the referrals that your child needs. I'm talking about like the cons, right? Um, the reduction of quality of service, really, if we're, going to be honest.
I mean, I feel like that comes with a lot. Like when you're talking about free, like we're talking about free healthcare. Well, of course, I feel like everything that is free, there always have like more cons than pros, because you can actually like, that makes sense. Like the doctor might have saw 57 or whatever 60 patients that day, when the person that pays for private insurance, that doctor probably saw maybe 20 people, and he wasn't that tired or annoyed or
Yeah, I
whatever the
mean,
case may be. You understand?
right. I mean, clearly they're humans, but I don't even know. Like, I don't know what the structure or the payment. I'm thinking that some of these medical providers that are working for government paid for institutions
Like
are
funded.
kind of funded. There must be like some sort of a salary, right? So it's not like the
Like they have a
pros.
cap.
Right, they have a cap. And with in, like you said, in a private sector, well, the doctors could kind of make up their own prices, and
Right.
they're going to make as much money as
They want.
they want, because they're going to take these private insurances. And I mean, even today, you have an HMO or a PPO, which is, you can go outside your whatever your insurance allows you to. And a lot of doctors don't want an HMO because it's a harder, it's a struggle for them to get paid. I don't know enough about that business to really get into into that part of it. But
Right.
we can certainly talk about what we think are the pros and cons.
Yeah, no, of course. I feel like the well, first of all, the pros and the cons to me, we pretty much like said everything. Like the pros, in my opinion, would be, you're able to live on an economical, like it's more economic, right? Of
It's
course,
free.
it's free. I mean, you still have to pay the what is it? Not the down payment. Oh God.
The co-pays?
The co-pays. You still have to make the co-payments, which is like $40 to whatever, $100, right?
Well, it all depends too.
It depends on
right?
the doctor, no?
It depends on, let's say, like, for instance, there's like, just to get to your point. So as far as the pros are concerned, you're right. It's free, right?
Right.
It covers everyone.
Yeah.
So everybody has the opportunity to be seen, to have the healthcare, right, opportunities that so many people today don't have.
Right.
The accessibility to that. You don't have to go to the emergency room, or you're not forced to go to the emergency room because you don't have health insurance. So you're using the emergency room as like your primary, right?
Yeah.
So there's that accessibility. I'm thinking as well, like, it improves public health in general, right? Meaning, like, everybody is healthy, everybody having free healthcare for everybody. Everyone's going to be able to be seen, so your conditions are treated, so you have a society that's a healthier society. That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
I mean, if you think about it, all the money that we spend today, like on our, whatever you get deducted from your paycheck to pay for your health
I
insurance.
get deducted $80, okay? Give me my money back now. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, that money, if you think about it, if you can use it for something else, if you're allowed, if your government provides health insurance, free health insurance, right? Well, you could take that money for something else, like maybe buy more equipment for this, podcast that
Yeah.
you have going on. I'm just throwing stuff out there. So it kind of increases entrepreneurship as well,
Right.
in whatever way that is for individuals.
Right.
Because you're keeping that money on your end. I mean, think about the bankruptcies and the reduction of bankruptcies, or ruining your credit because you don't have this huge medical bill that you can't afford because you didn't really have the health insurance to cover all that. So that's a pro, that's something that it's something to think about. And like I said, it keeps families healthy, at least those that are going to take advantage of it being free and getting, because you could make something free, but you can't force somebody
To get checked.
to get checked up,
Right.
right? And
I
to
feel
do that.
like, but I have an interjection on that, because I feel like
On which point?
there was like never, back in the days, like grandpa's days, like 1940s and 50s and 60s. I feel like health insurance wasn't that big, Like, I feel like all those people that live back in, or from that generation, better said, actually outlived this newer generation.
Well, I mean, think about, if you're talking about all I could think about is like you said, my dad, your grandfather.
Yeah.
His generation, they cultivated, they grew,
Right.
all of their crops, and
Mhm.
their foods had very limited,
Processing.
right. There was no preservatives and
Preservatives.
crap that is being put into it today. It was truly organic, if we're really going to use that word properly.
Right.
And so clearly you have to think that what you ingest, what you put in your body, is going to benefit the outcome of your health in
Oh,
the
yeah.
long term.
I feel like everything that we ingest is definitely what we're gonna be, right? Like they say, hey, if you eat pork, then that's, and then you might just.
No offense to pork eaters.
I'm a pork eater, okay? But no, I'm serious. I do want to say that that's exactly what. So it's, essentially what you ingest is really what happens.
Right.
Um,
So keeping families healthy
yeah,
is
but
one of the pros.
but I feel like that. And sorry, we had an interruption here. I have my dog with his toy right next to me. But anyways, I feel like if we were able to be healthy, obviously, we wouldn't need health insurance. There's a lot of people that don't have health insurance and don't believe in health insurance, but I feel like,
Well, I don't think we wouldn't need health insurance.
I mean, we only expect the worst.
Well, the thing is, some people, you can't really say that, right? Like I said, I'm not a health professional, but I mean, some people are born with conditions that is inevitable for them,
Oh, that
right?
makes sense. Yeah.
Like hypoglycemia, and they have situations with their blood sugars or diabetes, and
But
you
that's
know-
essentially genetic.
right. But if you don't have the health insurance,
Well.
then how do you treat it? So your quality of life, I would have to say, like I said, there's the pros and there's the cons of
Okay.
the free healthcare. But having healthcare, for me, that's my opinion, it's absolutely necessary.
Okay. Well, I was with whole entire year without healthcare and nothing happened, But
Oh, amen to that.
amen to that and knock on wood. But
But you did have a little bill, didn't you? Like you had to cover.
don't
and-
be putting my business out for the world to listen. What's wrong with you? I'm kidding. No, but I think that those are definitely some pros and the cons, obviously, to having free health insurance would be just what, like we explained. I feel like it would be you're just limited at the end of the day. That's the word. You're limited
I mean,
to certain things.
I believe, but just to get back to the pros really, really quick,
Go ahead.
I think it'll boost the economy. Like, seriously, think about it. A healthy nation, everybody has health care, everybody has access to being treated. That can only mean that if you're healthy enough, then you can go to work, right? So it's a healthier nation and it'll increase the economy. I don't know. I think about that and I'm like, well, that's something to think about for sure.
I mean, it is it makes sense, but then you have these multi-billion-dollar companies that are actually trying to make us unhealthy.
Well, that's a whole nother podcast, but I understand what you're
No,
saying.
but it makes sense. Like, I mean, I understand your point of view, but like, how would you be able to, just because routine checkups, just because we have routine checkups doesn't mean that people are going to be healthy enough.
Well, no, we're talking about like the benefits of having free healthcare, right? So if that's a pro by having people who are healthier because they have the accessibility to be treated for whatever situation, you have a healthier human being, then they can be more productive. If you have somebody who's sick and sluggish and can't leave the house, then that person really can't go out and do what he needs to do or she needs to do to earn and contribute to society. I'm not trying to sit here and say that free healthcare is going to boost the economy, but just thinking about it, it could possibly, if you put it in perspective. I'm healthy. I feel great. When I feel fantastic, I'm more productive. So, I mean, I've always worked, but I get to work and I do what I need to do. If I had some conditions that didn't allow me to, then clearly I'm not going to be able to go out there and be as productive as somebody who is healthy, so I don't know. And I also think like it's a human right? Like the respect for a human being to be able to have that.
That just makes me feel like we're owned. Essentially, we're owned. Like, how are you born on a planet that nobody owns? Because nobody owns Earth. Like, there's nobody that owns Earth, right? How are you born and subjected to have to pay for health insurance? No, serious.
I mean, it's the government. It's the dynamic that you live in this country. So, I mean, if you move to Canada or like Cuba, who I believe they've adapted a different type of, and we can talk about that later, but they have a different type of insurance where it's paid for by the government. But there's so many different, it's government, like they're going to tell you what you're going to do, what you're going to get. There's a name for it. I believe it is called, it's like, there's 3 models of like this healthcare insurance. And I believe that Canada, Cuba, or the UK, Cuba, New Zealand. It's the universal healthcare. It's a single payer system where the government provides the insurance from the income tax that they receive.
Right. So it's pretty much not free.
Well, the services are all government owned. Well, it's free to you,
but they withdraw from your taxes. So it's not
basically
free.
It's government owned.
They just take it on the back end, people.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, you don't have to pay it up front or monthly.
Well,
sounds like a marketing trick to me.
Again, we can talk about the cons of free healthcare, and that would be, on my top 5, cons is the fact that you'd have to consider the fact that you may be paying 7-8% of taxes, but if you want your government to provide healthcare and they're going to put, their funds into that, it's not just going to be their funds. It's got to come from somewhere, right? Because the more we make money, the less value it has. So the money's going to come somewhere. So it's going to come from your taxes. So I would have to say that if we're going to talk about cons, that's going to be one of my top 4. It's going to be Increase in taxes, my friend.
So you think that it would be possible to do that now that Joe Biden was elected, that he'd possibly be able to raise our taxes to?
I don't really know what the administration has in mind. Not an administration that I thoroughly,
Well,
have
right. But
researched or followed.
I feel like it wouldn't be possible here in America.
I'm
It's been way too long that we've been like it. I wouldn't happen. Maybe if I'm 60, I might be able to see it, but I don't think there'll ever be a like
it.
a overturn
Mhm.
of that.
I don't really know anything is possible. I never thought that I would live in a country where I would be shut down, right? And mandated to, wear masks and things as such.
Yeah.
And here we are today, being told that we can do this, we can't do that. Don't, have, I know that's a whole nother situation, but
Yeah, that's the
I just think anything is possible. So I'm sure if it's on someone's agenda or a particular party's agenda to look into it and they think it's going to be beneficial for the country, I mean, like I said, there's like 33 other countries that have some sort of a free healthcare
Yeah,
model
and are
in
successful.
place. And I don't know too much. I can't speak to too much of their successes, but it's working. It's there. It's happening.
I mean, Canadians are, they when they come on vacation here, at least they hate it. They have to actually pay insurance to come to the country. So if they're on vacation, they have to pay like for each individual, depending on what they make, a percentage of that to come into the country. Just in case anything happens to them here, they're covered with insurance.
I didn't know that. I wasn't aware.
Yeah, I had a when I used to work at a Holiday Inn, selling vacation packages. Some lady told me I have to pay $1,600 for each person in my family. It's me, my husband, and my 2 kids. $1,600 just to come to USA, in insurance only, to
Oh,
be
wow.
covered. So that's actually a bummer.
Wow. Well, that's a con.
That's a very big con.
Traveling to a country
If you
where-
travel.
yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
That's
I'll have
insane.
to. I'll
I
have
mean,
to research
it
that.
depends on the percentage of what you make, but that's still crazy. Like you have to pay the ticket, the stay, and your insurance to come in. At least from Canada. I don't know any other country that have free insurance and have to do that, but that's a crazy number.
Wow. Well, I mean, like I said, healthcare benefits and access to healthcare, like I said, it definitely has its pros and cons. I don't know. I think about the cons as well. And I mean, could it lead to like a socialism type of a society, where you're now, told where you have to go and who's going to provide the service and how long it's going to take to have that service? Because I also think about, while I say, I think it's beautiful to, for every human to have that accessibility. And we went through some of those pros, right? But think about it, like now we have a society where health insurance is free. Could we have these facilities where they're like overcrowded and we have to wait long hours to be seen? And maybe, like we touched on before, maybe the providers are not feeling, they're
Well-
underpaid and frustrated. They have so many people
Well-
to see. What's going to be the quality of the service that I'm going to get?
But
with respect to that, like
when you
I
say-
don't know.
But that makes sense. But I feel like if it were to be the other way around, if we would have been started off with free insurance till this day, everybody would be happy because it would be normal.
Well, you wouldn't know any better.
Right. So when you change it from making money to not making money, or, well, let me put this in a different phrase, making a lot of money to making some money that is close to a lot of money. So we could just put a number on it. From 250,000 to 100,000, that's a big difference. But I feel like if people had it, like if it was regulated where all doctors free, okay, so free insurance, all doctors get paid $100,000 a year, of course. They wouldn't protest or go against
Not knowing any
Right,
other thing.
because
Yeah.
they would, so it would be completely normal. So what I'm trying to say is that of course it would be hard for them to adjust now because they live a different lifestyle than what they would be subjected to, because that's what would happen. You would be subjected to have to do this, or have another profession. But I feel like it's possible, man. I think health insurance and health providers make so much money that it's insane.
I mean, I don't know that it's insane, but because I'm sure, I know you want to, you can open the door to another conversation, but we're talking about education and how much it costs for a doctor to get educated and all of the bills that come with that, right? All of the loans that come with that.
But
I may not want to make, $100,000. I may want to get some incentives from some of these big pharma companies for using their products and whatever. I don't know what their structure is like, and I'm not going to pretend to know. But I don't know. I don't know. So if I'm talking about the cons, then to that point, for not to say, shoot, some people make, not even half of $100,000 and they're happy.
Right.
But I just think that the quality of the healthcare could be at risk if with this free healthcare, for everyone, because we'll have this overcrowdedness, or we'll have these facilities that are not what we're accustomed to. Because today we're accustomed to having a private sector. So for me, it would be an adjustment. I'm sure, I'm sure I can adapt, right? Because we're humans that creatures of adaptation. I'm sure I can. But it will take some getting used to, because I may have to go in and sign a little paper, and there could be 50 other people before me, and I'd have to sit there all day waiting to be seen, as opposed to making an appointment and being seen right away. I don't know.
Well, making an appointment and sitting there is like walking in and having an appointment. That I don't think that.
Well, how about if there's like 50 other people before you walked in waiting in line? That's what I mean. So now, instead of walking in, I had an appointment at 2:00. I'm now, well, I don't know when you're going to be seen. You'll be seen before, we close the facility.
Well, that's different, But I feel like that would be a different conversation, because not everybody has the money. Not all doctors start off with the money to be able to open up their own clinic, and that's usually their desire, like to have their own clinic. Like it's
right, but we're talking about free healthcare and going to these government owned.
But look at how I'm going to circle this around, because if you have free insurance, then that means you can possibly go to any of the sectored governmental healthcare providers. So my point is that if insurance was free, you would be able to go, like anywhere, or because free insurance, when I say free insurance, nobody pays for insurance, just like Canada. So they don't have sectors where you are able to go and not go, that I know of course. Maybe it's in your same county, maybe it's in your own state, of course, but
I think everybody has the free healthcare, but it is very probable that if you have an employer who probably offers some sort of a benefit, maybe there's a different there's a different facility you can visit, like more of like a private sector type facility. But like you said, I have to take your lead on that, because I don't know enough about their structure to to make any further comments on that. I don't really know.
And if anybody does, I would love for you guys to comment. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we'll be right back. Thank you. the delay. But I'm still here with my mother.
Hello.
And we were talking about free health insurance. Second part, we'll definitely be talking about free school, so university essentially. Education, yeah. So what we were talking about was the cons of health insurance.
Right.
Yeah, health
and we were
insurance.
talking about like the quality of service that
Right.
could probably, I mean, and again, we're just, this is our opinion.
Right, of course. You
Where
guys know that.
the quality of service,
Could actually derail pretty much. But if you think about it, like think about this. That is a con. But like I feel like every con that we have, we can always like circle it around to be a pro.
I mean,
Like imagine all those homeless people that unfortunately can't get treated, being able to be treated.
well, you say that, right? So let's talk about that and very respectfully,
Of course.
because we,
We're humans.
we're humans and we have respect for
of
life.
course.
But that could also be a con as well. Not the fact that the money has to come from somewhere, right? So the government is going to fund it. It's going to come from something's going to come up,
Yeah.
right? Your taxes are going to increase. So let's say you're 20, you're healthy, you're paying a ton of taxes.
I'm 25.
No. I just meant like in general.
I'm
You're,
kidding, I'm
in your
kidding, I'm
20s, you're healthy.
I'm kidding.
So the amount of times that you need to go to the doctor, thank goodness that you don't have any any conditions that need to be seen on a regular basis. Now, let's just say, just to throw a number out there, let's say, taxes had to increase to anywhere from 10 to 15%, right?
Mhm.
Would that be fair to you who doesn't use this free health care? So that everybody else in the society can use and have free health care? I'm just talking cons. I'm like thinking these could be things that it can lead to. So where is there a balance there? Like I've got to pay 17%, but I barely go to the doctor. Like I'm thinking the younger generation saying something like that. They've got to work really hard and they're getting 17, or let's say, anywhere from
Just
10,
a random number. Just.
right, anywhere from 10 to 15%.
That's not
a
the actual number, guys.
percentage, right? A high percentage of taxes now they're paying when they don't use it, right? I mean, that's something to think about.
But if you think about it, that's true. But how many times do you go to the doctor? Well, I'll put myself out there. I go to the doctor every year, possibly like twice. That's it. And I still have to pay. But it should be like a membership. You can cancel it every month. Cancel my subscription, please. Just cancel it. I want the 15-day trial. Let me get that. You guys have that out there?
I don't need it this month.
Come on, that's it. I'm good. Don't know. 500? No, I'm good. Cancel the damn thing. No, but if you think about it, it's true. If you go twice, maybe let's say you go in January and the next time you go is in October. I paid $960 to see the doctor twice because my copay, my insurance is deducted $80 a month, guys. So that equals $960 for 12 months.
Which is really, really good.
And I just saw him twice. And he said, "You're good. Don't worry about it. Oh, you're good. How do you feel?" "I feel good." "Okay.
I'll see you in 6 months.
I'll see you in Damn it, man. Cancel the membership. You need a referral." "No, I do not."
Eso se llama un mal necesario.
That's what, exactamente. Es como que you can't win.
I mean, and think about it also, like there could be such an increase in bureaucracy, right?
Yeah.
In like some of these hospitals where, they have an increase all of a sudden of people who have conditions, and all of a sudden, they've got to put you on hold, and no, you can't get that surgery, not yet, you
Well,
got to
I
wait
mean,
another 6. I mean, there's just so many different aspects to it. I mean, it's
we
an
can use
interesting concept,
we can
right?
use the pandemic as an example.
Oh, wow.
Imagine these people that have to have, I'm sorry for all those people that lost, family members and friends and to cancer, but imagine all those people that have cancer and being around people that have the coronavirus. How insane do you think that is?
How so?
Like, you're at risk. I mean, you're at risk with cancer, but you're even more at risk with corona being around and just kill you in 5 days when you were possibly subjected to last 6 more months.
Oh, you mean somebody with an underlying condition?
That's what I'm saying. No,
Oh.
like you said, you have to sometimes wait. You can't get that surgery now, or you can't get chemo now because the hospital's segregated because there's coronas on the left, and
Yeah. Well, the increase in bureaucracy and like the corruption in the hospitals, these are some of the cons that I thought about, like that could possibly happen and things of that nature. I'm not saying that that happens at all. I don't know. Um, I don't know. It's just, it's not, it's complicated. It's complicated. It's a really good, like I said,
it's gray.
it's yeah, yeah. I mean, it's very complicated. There's so much that really needs to be analyzed to make sure that as a nation would be beneficial for everyone in that nation, right? For all of
Of
us,
course.
and for our country. Because I mean, think about it. If the government is funding it and our taxes are not really covering it, then that means we have to borrow money to cover that debt. So that's
Where do
something
we
that
borrow money from? We have the damn money making machine.
we borrow money from institutions overseas. We borrow from other countries. I mean,
China.
trust me, I'm not a politician.
No,
I'm
of
not
course,
in
of course.
government,
No,
so
I mean we're just speaking our mind here,
no, sure.
but it's true. I mean that makes sense.
I mean, but think about it too. We were talking about like doctors and getting paid a certain salary because of
No human should be making more than $200,000 a year. All you people that make $200,000 a year plus are fortunate, very fortunate.
are fortunate. Well, that makes me think about. So you're talking about the possibility of a nation or a country
I mean, we should be.
with free health insurance. How about free education? What do you think some of the
I
pros
feel
and
like
cons are there?
all these doctors that saves lives should have free education. We should all have the opportunity to be able to get educated. If
Certainly.
I mean,
Guaranteed
why
education.
why do we stop at high school? Why does education freely stop at high school? What is it? The NCAA, and I'm gonna put this out. You guys steal the most money ever. Okay, and that's facts. I don't know if you guys seen the series Ballers with The Rock. He stated it as well. It's true. They don't even pay the players.
So
But
you're
that's a
thinking
different
you're,
topic. I'm
you're
sorry.
So you're saying that you think education we would better, you want to talk about like free
Of
education
course.
in our
How
country.
about all these people that come from, places that are not so how can I put this? Are subjected to not having the availability to be able to go to school
At all.
At all. Point
Okay.
blank.
Whether
Like,
you can afford it or not. You
Whether
just can't
you just
study.
can't. You just can't do it because you live where, your parents have, 10 kids or 5 kids or 2 kids and they can't even barely feed them. So you have to work at a certain age. So you can't go to school.
Oh, so it isn't that they don't offer. It's just that education isn't available. It's not accessible.
It's not accessible,
Because
right?
Okay.
Because there's other needs,
Well, I mean, free education. I mean, guaranteed education. That certainly is a pro. I mean, that's a security for your life,
That's what I'm saying.
right? I don't know. I think if and I mean this with so much respect because I think I know so many people that are not, don't have a bachelor's, don't have a master's, and are so happy and secure with their life and
Right.
have made a good living for the,
Those are the hustlers.
and have it, have
Those are the grinders.
right. But it does. A free education can certainly, guarantee, security of life and possibly having a better outlook of life because you have more possibilities and probability of
Less
right of
stress. That's what it would provide.
well, less financial stress
Of
because you don't have
course.
to worry about, you can go to class and not be
Right.
worrying about how am I going to make next month's payment or, my goodness, I'm almost going to graduate. I need to hurry up and try to find a job so I can start paying these student loans
Right.
because I can't defer them anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sure that employment will increase because now you have more educated, a society.
Mhm.
So, I don't know, it promotes fairness too, I would say, right? Because now everybody's educated and has the opportunity to do that. Um,
Right. I mean, look at Canada. Free education. These they live happily ever. That I know of, the people that I've met from Canada love Canada. Like these are things that America should really put into perspective, in the sense of for the future generations. Like I don't feel like people should be subjected to have to pay, even though sometimes people say they don't pay because because they for example, if you have that benefit that you're able to take out to receive grants like the federal Pell Grants and not loans, but a lot of times federal Pell Grants will pay for your college, but it's dumb. Like that's one of the most stupidest things I've ever heard. Like, okay,
how so?
because we're gonna lend you money. The government lends the school money for you, which it's essentially free. It's not coming out of your pocket. They don't tax you on FAFSA.
Well, they recover it from taxes. There's a portion of it, not all of it, but I'm sure our taxes are distributed accordingly. But that's another thing. When you have free education, then some of the other resources that maybe went to other initiatives in our country would have to be scaled back, right? Because I mean, this is just me thinking, because we're not going to have a lot of the resources are going into education, so now you've got to cut back somewhere else. I don't know. It's just like the free healthcare. I feel like it's the same. Like, while it has those pros, but then we also have to think about, possibly, an equal society in school. Like, I don't know.
Like
What's gonna happen if we're all, have our bachelors and masters in engineering?
there's no jobs.
Now there's no jobs. So what's going to happen to the unemployment rate?
It's gonna go up.
Because I can't find a job in what I study. So could that lead to limited resources? Like, okay, so we're going to offer free education. However,
You might not get a job.
you may not be able to study what you think you want to study. I'm just like, I don't know. Could that be? I don't know enough about it. I'd have
It
to
makes
do a little bit of
no.
research. But could you imagine everybody wants to be a psychiatrist? Okay, so where are we all going to be employed?
Yeah. And that's exactly why I would cap everybody.
But how about if there isn't enough opportunities out there for all of us to work in, right?
Yeah.
If we all want to be
Physical therapists.
physical therapists, but there isn't enough institutions to satisfy and to practice all of the students that are graduating and using that, in that particular field, then what? That's just gonna increase. So it's tricky. It's tricky. I mean,
It could be tricky, but like it's well, we live in like, what if this would happen? What if, you understand? But
I guess we really would need to bring in and invite somebody, or you need to talk to somebody who's actually lived in this situation to understand a little bit more about how like they've always lived there. So how does it, how do you feel? How does it work? What are the pros? What are the cons? Or we could just
But
research.
it doesn't give anybody the right to not give you that. If you don't want to study, you're not going to study. Not everybody is good at school, and that's
Sure.
proven.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
that's a fact.
Right.
Um,
I don't know. How about, like, as one of the cons, what do you think that it would do, like, in the younger generation? Like me right now, I think it would be fabulous. I'd get on that boat real quick, right?
I mean,
And
they do have
take
it.
the opportunity. But no, how do you think financially, or how managing like their money? How do you think they would be able to appreciate like how much things cost, and how, because my generation, I can appreciate a really good opportunity, at a job, and know, oh my God, I've got to make some adjustments here, financial adjustments, because
Right.
I have to have health care for our family,
Right.
right? But the younger generation, will they really like
Well, I mean, it's only
value the dollar, because they don't really like, oh, I could go to school. They don't really know what it is to have to sacrifice and struggle. Not that you should have, I mean, I get it, but I don't know.
but there's a
I
lot of
just,
people like that now. There's a lot of people that are born into $1 million families, families that are successful. Well, let me not say it
True.
like that. Financially successful on a higher scale is what I'm trying to say. Because we are all, if you're alive, you're successful. Okay, guys.
yes, that's true.
So what I'm trying to say is that if you're fortunate to have, that lifestyle, then it's the same thing.
And it's a lot to think about.
Because now you think about it, you're born with a spoon in your mouth, right? That's how they say. That's a saying.
An analogy.
Yeah. And what does it matter to you if you go to school or not? My parents have money, so what am I gonna? I don't care what I do. So it's tricky because it's a mental thing. It's a mindset, in my opinion. If you want to be somebody, you're gonna be somebody. If you're not, then you're not. That's just how life. So answering your question, the newer generation, which is being brought up on technology, maybe will have. I think they would definitely have that mindset, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs and people that they see, they would want to portray. I feel like the new generation are followers. Yep, I feel it.
Interesting.
I feel that they are, but I feel like they can always come out, out the box. They'll be out the box if you really want to. It's all about, desire and what you want in your life. But to wrap it back to how would we pay, or if there would be a lot or enough jobs, I would say, yeah, there would be. Because not everybody, you can go to school and you can have a bachelor's degree and master's degree. Doesn't mean you're going to have that job that you want. Because maybe you didn't express yourself the right way, or maybe you didn't pay attention in one class, but you passed it, but they made questions on that class that you forgot in an interview, for example, or on a test that you have to take.
Well, yeah, you would have to really, like I said, that certainly is something to think about. You would really have to,
I mean, that happens now.
put your best foot forward.
And we pay for education. I can pay for education, but it doesn't guarantee me a job.
But it doesn't mean that there's like an excess of graduates fighting for the same position and the same role.
Right.
Because so many people, either they're hesitant because they don't, or they can't afford it, or they just don't want to live, the rest of their lives paying these student loans. For whatever circumstance, somebody's going through. But if you have that free education and everybody is taking advantage of it, I would have to think somewhere down the line there could be we can run into a little situation as far as,
Maybe.
depending on where you
Of
live,
course. Yeah.
it could certainly be dependent on where you live
I can agree with that, to
and
be
the amount
honest.
of companies that are available to you, right?
Yeah.
Because I could, living in New York, I may have, you know, more than enough opportunity,
Right.
but
In a bigger city.
right, right. In a
I
smaller
just
city, I'm not gonna have that luck. I don't know. I don't know. Something to think about for sure.
it really is, and it comes down to as well that service that they would provide. If everybody becomes a doctor, for example,
And you have free healthcare,
and you have
then
free,
you're gonna be an employer or an employee of the government.
but you would be subjected to have great customer service, in my opinion, because if not, nobody's going to come to you.
Oh, you mean you would have to? Right, right. Well,
Because if there's 35 doctors in the same street, like, oh, I'd rather go here. Let's see if this guy does a good job.
I don't know. I guess we have to assignment for myself would be to take a quick look at all the different models that are out there, right? If recollection serves me right, I think there's like 3 models of like free healthcare, and I think there's over 30 countries that have adapted these models. So definitely something for me to go look at and do
Right.
a little bit of research, see what these countries, how they're surviving.
Right.
Maybe there is free education as I don't know that that's, I know in Canada it is. So
Mhm.
I'm curious. I'm gonna look into that for sure.
Definitely works for them. That's all I would say. But I do want to say that um, I believe in free healthcare and I believe in free education, because it's no sense that these companies make, you know, and this is based off. This is reference 92% of people, and this is a census.gov, guys. 92% of people have health insurance, either private or governmental assistance. So 92% of our population in America, of course,
Mm-hmm.
has health insurance, which is fantastic. That's amazing. That's an amazing number if that is true. But just imagine 300 million. There's like 323 million people in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just give it a quick number, 300 million people,
Okay.
paying an average of 456, which is what I said earlier. That's $136 billion that these people are making. Of course, if you were to unfortunately have an illness or a disease or be born with a genetic disorder, then, obviously and fortunately, it would be beneficial to you. But if you're a healthy human being, like,
With free healthcare, you mean? If you're healthy, what good
Yeah.
is it? Well, that
I was using myself as an example earlier, but what I'm trying to say is, where the heck does all these money, where does this money go to? Like, that's things that we don't know, obviously.
I mean, it goes back to
It goes back to it's a cycle,
to the providers, to the
Oh my-
pharmaceutical companies,
which is
um,
one of the biggest businesses, and I won't say the word, businesses out there.
Mm.
But I feel like that's with everything, though. Like, I feel like these big companies
Mhm.
can set out a price, obviously, and you have to pay it. You have to.
Well, that's the one thing, like with government control healthcare, is that they would regulate.
That would be
Right?
perfect, though.
There would be so much regulation.
Like how?
However, pharmaceutical companies, because there's going to be such a limitation to what they can and can't do, they may not want to, spend too much money in reinventing different medications. So I don't know that the quality of when I say service, I mean all of it, right? Like the medication, the provider, and the quality of the product. I don't know.
That's just really bad people.
But if you're not, we live in a society where
Capitalist.
everybody wants to make money. It's a business.
But it's like the biggest business ever. Like pharmaceutical companies are the most richest companies in the world.
There's a field to look at.
That's a field. Oh man, if only I had free education. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
but if you think about that, like what's the difference between Claritin and the generic one that they prescribe over the counter? It's a different box.
it's the quality of the product and the name and the marketing that goes behind it.
If it has the same milligrams, it's the same thing.
Well, that
Did you
again,
just essentially just make an analogy like, oh, if I don't get Tropicana orange juice, it's not the same thing as Simply Orange.
it's all about marketing. It's all about.
That's facts.
I'm not making this stuff up. This is what's out there.
That's
I
facts.
mean, there's
If you guys don't see this, then you guys are completely blind. What's the difference between orange juice from Minute Maid and orange juice from Tropicana? What is it?
where the oranges come from.
Where the Okay, one comes from Florida and the other one comes from, wherever. But it's a very interesting topic, and I just want to say one last thing, because I did touch on cancer patients, and like I did say, I don't mean any harm. I don't mean any misunderstandings. I don't want to offend anybody. I really truly respect, and I wear pink every October because it's a serious sickness.
Your grandmother had cancer.
She
had
did.
breast cancer.
She did, and that's why I wear
We take
pink
it
every
very
October.
seriously.
Yeah, we do. But at the same time, unfortunately, if you do have cancer, it's an insane cost. It's an insane cost. I did my research, and in 2020, listen to this. In 2020, your chemotherapy sessions are from $1,000 to $12,000. Okay. Each radiation session is from $9,000 to $10,000. And your immunotherapy, so essentially to get your immune system built back up, is from $10,000 to $13,000. Okay. Their prediction on people from 0 to 19 years old, 16,850 children and adolescents will have cancer. And 10% of them will die. 0 to 19.
Oh,
If that was free, if all this chemo, radiation, their parents are not ready for that. No mother or dad is prepared for their son to be born with cancer and have to subject them to taking all these acid-like treatments,
medications. Mhm.
because unfortunately that's what it is. It kills your cancer cells and it kills your healthy cells. And this is unfortunately why your hair falls off and stuff like that.
Right.
So imagine that. They already predict 10% of the people that get cancer from 0 to 19, of course, to die. And why are the reasons that they'd possibly die? Or what is the reason that it's 10%? We don't know. Do your research. We would love some comments. I definitely enjoyed speaking to you today, Mother.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. This is good. I like it.
We like it.
Yeah.
Another
Que se
episode soon.
repita. Que se repita la invitación, por favor.
Cheers to that. Cheers to that. We'll cheer on water on that one.
Well, maybe just to close, maybe the United States is only one of the 33, only countries that isn't, yeah, it hasn't considered adapting any of these free either healthcare or education. Maybe they will. Thanks for inviting me. I really had a good time.
Love you.
Love you too.
See you, peeps.
Bye bye.
And yes, hopefully there is change and reform. I don't know who's gonna be it. I don't know who's gonna do it, but